Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for another great video. You are in for an absolutely great video. I'm so happy to introduce you to someone who I knew from my active duty days. He's a Navy veteran, author, just an all around great brother. We've been sitting here, talking back and forth, just catching up. This is our first time actually seeing each other in over a decade. Um, Almost a decade.
Yeah, about over a decade.
Yes,
Yeah,
and his name
2000,
is
2008.
Yes, this is Brother Jay Bavolar, a U.S. Navy veteran. He's also an author of a book he just released. I have it here. I have not actually gotten my hard copy yet, but it is available on Amazon. If you click the link in the description, it's called Black Serviceman to Black Veteran. You're absolutely in for a treat. And we reconnected on the video that I did, I think, last year, talking about my
Yep.
time active duty. And we happened to say, like, hey, you look
Ex-
familiar. Were you that tall, skinny, lanky person on the boat walking
Yep.
around?
Oh, right.
And that was
You know,
both of
as
us.
yeah, it's funny. The way I found the way I even found your YouTube channel was I was looking at reviews of Hidden Colors 5 because I just went to go see it that weekend and out here in New York City. So I was like, okay, what do other people think of it? So I found yours and I looked at it. I was like, okay, and you gave a great view on it and everything. And what you
Yeah.
said you was in the Navy, you talked
Mm-hmm.
about the Kitty Hawk briefly. So I was like, okay, what else are you talking about? So that's why I saw your Navy video, and I saw a few other videos. I was like, okay, she's thorough. That's what I was like, okay, you look familiar. Once I saw you know, your Instagram page, that's what we know. Okay, we look familiar. We crossed paths at some point. It
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, we both, and it's coincidentally we both on the Nassau.
Yep. The nasty Nassau. Oh my
Big
gosh. That was
Nasty, that's what they call it. That was the nickname for it.
absolutely. And Black Serviceman to Black Veteran is now available on Amazon. Go ahead and
Yep,
pick up that book. Oh my gosh. Like,
please.
we told me that you were writing a book, it was coming out. And
Yes.
once I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, me, I'm a bookworm, all my books behind me. So, like I said, introducing you, I didn't give you your proper due, Brother Jason Bavolar, author. So, here's some applause for you, okay? Here we go.
I, I definitely appreciate that.
Using all of my new studio equipment. But yes, can you
I
give us an
see.
introduction on yourself, a little bit of background
Abs-
on you as well?
yes,
Introduce everybody to you.
yes, absolutely. So, before I got named, I grew up in Long Island, New York, Elmont to be exact. For those of you listening that's from New York or New York City, just like if you ask, okay, you're from New York, what part are you from? Or even Long Island, you're gonna ask what part are you from? If you're from Brooklyn, you say Crowns Heights, um, East New York, Flatbush, Coney Island, etc. Queens, you're from Jamaica, South Side, etc. Manhattan, you from Harlem, Bronx, South Bronx, etc. So, I'm from Elmont. Um, when I so I went Sewanaka High School at that. I went Navy straight out of high school. I graduated 2004. Um, and it's crazy. When I first was going into the military, when I first went in my senior year, I wasn't thinking military or anything like that. You know, if anybody would have came to me with the idea, I would have definitely scoffed at it. You know, and not until when I actually went in, it was I believe March of 2004, and how I came in, the recruiter called my house and everything. So before we got into that, I was raised by my grandparents. So, my grandfather, we still had house phones at the time. So the recruiter would leave voicemails on my answering machine. So my grandfather's like, okay, call this person, tell them you're not joining, because this is right in the peak of the Iraqi war at the time. So he's like, okay, tell him you're not going. So I called back and he's like, hey, how you doing? So he's like, okay, do you play Madden? So I tell him like, yeah, okay, yeah, I play. So he's like, yeah, why don't you come to the recruiter and play? So I was like, all right, no problem. So I told him so I told my grandfather I was meeting a recruiter that day. You know, he kind of was looking like, why are you meeting him? Just should just told him you're not interested, don't join. So he met that day. He met my grandparents. went to the recruiting office that day, and I took the practice ASVAB, scored good enough on it. I was because before you even go in, they make you take the practice ASVAB right there, the recruiting station there, so they have an idea of where you're at. Okay, because if you go there and you score like, let's just say, a 2 on it, they're like, okay, we're not going to waste our time with them. So I scored good enough. So I was like, okay, we'll go through. I went through it about 2 weeks, about a week or two later. I took the ASVAB. I had a pretty good score on it. Next week, went to MEPS, did the whole spew, picked my rate and everything, and then officially went in. And this was still, I believe, this was still right around the end of March, maybe the beginning of April of '04. So my leave date was in the end of October. I believe that was October 28th of 2004. So this is 3-4 months right after I graduated high school. This was because I graduated back in June of 2004.
Okay.
I know everyone's different. No, down south, down south it's May. It's usually in May they graduate. But out here, in the Northeast, it's June.
Right after Father's Day.
Yeah, pretty much right after.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran right. So at the end of October, right around, like I said, it was about October 20th, 2004, right when I went into boot camp and everything. 2004, went through it, went to A school. I think we graduated the day before New Year's Eve.
Oh,
This was,
wow.
yeah, January 30th, 2004 is when I graduated boot camp.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went, right from graduation to our A school.
And where was your school at? What city, state?
Meridian, Mississippi, about an hour
Meridian,
from
okay.
about an hour from Jackson, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm. And your rate, what was your rate while you were active
I
duty?
was SH, ship serviceman.
There we go. And for those who don't know what a ship serviceman is, I know since we've gotten out, they've merged a lot of rates. Can you give us a little bit of detail on what your rating was and your duties?
Yes, correct. With ship servicemen, we worked in the ship store, the barber shop, laundry, the vent. We took care of the vending machines. So that was our main duties on the ship. I say it's the best kept secret, probably one of the best rates because we had everything that everybody wanted on the ship.
Right.
So
That's
anything
absolutely
you wanted,
true.
you had to go through us.
You made me think about one of my I will say we were best friends, but she was just an all around cool sister because at that time I was in cosmetology school and I thought it was so unfair on the boat. Like, okay, the guys got the barbershop, we don't have a beauty salon, so she helped me make some money on the boat doing hair and stuff like that. So yes, the ship servicemen, you need to be kind to them, okay?
Yeah, no question about it. Listen, and for what it's worth, listen, I made the ship service be cool to be on the Nassau. You like people in deck or undesignated airmen or firemen. Listen, they struck out to become an SAS because of what I did on the Nassau at the time.
And the Nassau was a small ship. It was an amphib. Me, before coming to the Nassau, I was on aircraft carriers with thousands upon thousands of people. The Nassau was new to me because, like, the female the female berthing where we were, all the females, we were in this one compartment versus, different places on the carrier where you were in relation to your division and your department. So it was a new world to me. So it was easy to know everybody on the ship and become well known.
Well, what they call it? They call the carrier the floating city. That was the best way to describe a carrier. Hold on, you there?
I'm good. Go right ahead. I'm just gonna put it one screen. Go right ahead.
No problem. Yeah, they call the carriers the floating city. It was 3,000 and maybe what was it, up to 5,000 when they had when you was on the plane when they had the squadrons on there, something like that. So I mean, on there was really no way to know everybody on there. At least on Nassau, when we went to the point where we didn't have the Marines on, the crew was about, I believe, about 900. So you kind of knew everybody on there, or at least knew of everybody on there.
Right.
If you say such and such work worked there or worked whatever they worked at, you kind of had a, okay, oh, I remember this dude. I knew where he worked at. He used to
Because
hang with such and such.
I remember you walking around the ship. Like I remember you with the coveralls and the ball cap on. Even when we were out to sea, you don't have to wear a ball cap. You still had one.
I definitely did. And
I'm happy that you still got your hairline, because a lot of brothers that they used to rock it, you know, the hairline was gone. So it's good to see you got yours.
Yeah, thank you. You know,
that's what's up.
35 and still have the hairlines. Still 35
and not a grandpa
and
not a grandfather. So that's what's up.
I'm not even a father at that.
There you go. That's what's up. Well, thank you to everybody who's here tonight. I'm reconnecting with a good brother that I served with on the active duty side. And you know, one thing that, you know, is kind of tough for a lot of us veterans, especially Black veterans who came out, is, you know, how do you respond? Or, you know, is it okay to tell someone Happy Veterans Day? Because a lot of us, you know, we had some tough times, and you know, we are now, you know, pushing after that, and still trying to have a complete life post military service. And we have brother Jay Bavolar here, who is an author of Black Serviceman to Black Veteran. And in your book, you talk about education, and we just discussed your rating in the Navy. How did your rating translate to, you know, your time out of the military, and what did you do when you pursued the education route that everyone told us to push for, and why a lot of us joined the military for the education benefits?
Right. I mean, that's a great question. Like, for my rate, it's, you know, you're in supplies, so you can more so do, let's just say, supply. You can work in a warehouse. Now, is that the most desirable job? Probably not, right? Even you can be the manager at a retail store somewhere. You know, as far as the ship, the rate was good at, you know, as I said earlier. But, you know, now what I actually majored in out of the military, it actually didn't, it wasn't nothing that had anything to do with what I did in the military. Now, I actually changed my major 2 times when I originally went to college. First one, when I did go to college, my first major was journalism, because you know, I was like, okay, you know, I'm a major in journalism. I'm gonna get on ESPN. That's what I thought initially when I first got out. But you know, that didn't quite work out for me. So then I went to it was on business management. That didn't quite work. The part. You back? Okay, and then
yes, I'm here. I just switch you to a solo screen so that people can pay attention to you, and you know, things like that. And then in the background, I'm typing in links, so I don't want people to get distracted. So yeah, that's it.
No problem. Okay. Yeah. So what I did, so like I said, when I did business management, you know, you know, I kind of felt that miserably at first. It was the math part that was messing me up. You know, it was corporate finance, accounting that kind of messed me up at first. Okay. And honestly, with those classes, it more or less depends on the professors you got. Because when I took it with different professors, I got better results out of it. But then I ended up switching that to political science. And I was like, okay, I'll do political science. I'll do a government job, whatever. So I'll just do that. Now, did it work out that way? It didn't. Now, that's why when I talk about in the book, I said, okay, if you're going to go to college, you know, major something that's going to be, you know, tangible and transferable in your life, right? Something that you can actually get a good paying job out of. You know, I said, don't major in something like liberal arts, you know, something like that.
Psychology.
Right. Psychology. Basically, let's put it this way. Basically, degrees that you can basically wipe your ass with. If we're going to be real here.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. I heard this when I was active duty. You probably heard it too. And I've actually heard someone say it to some new personnel in the military recently, was you paid into your GI Bill. Start going to school. You can get a degree in basket weaving. And I'm like, what the world? Right. Why would you tell somebody to do some crazy, stupid stuff like that after you done paid into the GI Bill? Exactly. And a lot of us, when we first came in, like me, I am, you know, just one enlistment type person. you're going to get out, and you're not marketable. You aren't marketable. Like right now, everybody and their
Yeah.
mama have a DD-214. Everybody and their mama is a disabled veteran. Everybody and their mama
Yeah.
has a bachelor's degree. So what are you doing to set yourself apart and be, competitive out there in the market? And
Ex-
I'm let you
exactly.
take it,
No,
brother, take
dude,
it.
you are absolutely right in that. Jason Black, he talks about this on his channel all the time. He said it repetitively to the point, you should get bored with it if you're somebody who's an avid listener to his channel, right? And I actually put it in my book even before when I first started listening to Jason Black, the Black Authority. It was when I think he was talking about Adolf. That was Thanksgiving of last year. That's when I first started listening to his channel. Now, for this one, I wish I started listening to his channel, when he first started maybe 10 years ago, because I'd probably be in a different place in my life now, you know what I'm saying, than I was then. But he's absolutely right. If psychology, liberal arts, sociology, you don't want to major in those because though, or any other degree that's vague and you can just wipe your ass with. You want to major in stuff like you said, accounting, anything in the
Mm-hmm.
medical field, pharmacy. If you do want to become a doctor, that's fine. I mean, now disclaimer that takes some years to do, to get your
Mm-hmm.
residency and all that. So that's about 8 to 10 years on average, depending on what kind of doctor you want to become. So just be aware of that. So the GI Bill will not cover all of that. You
Mm-hmm.
will be taking. You're gonna probably take out loans in order to become a doctor.
Or if you
But
go a different
engineering,
route. Mm-hmm.
right?
Boom.
And engineering is also another one you may want to do. Any kind of engineering, you can make money in. Also, what I did say too, if you're going to go to college too, I know people talk about HBCUs, but I said it because listen, I went to a PWI. I went to LIU Post for my undergrad, Adelphi for my graduate's degree, and I'll tell you the difference between I would say a PWI and an HBCU, which I do put in the book, is with a PWI, they want your money. They know you're getting a GI Bill, so they'll gladly take your money. But once you're done, with that school, you start looking real unfamiliar. They don't know you. It's like whatever. Ninja. I'll try not to say the N word out here. Ninja, you good. You on your own now. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to you do go to HBCU. Now you do get diversity, but the racism part is kind of out the window. That's why I would say go to an HBCU as opposed to a PWI. And in the book, in my additional resources part, I did list the HBCUs in there. So you have a choice of HBCUs to go to.
And that's one thing. I cannot wait to get a copy of your book in my hands. I placed my order on Amazon, and you can get your copy too of Black Serviceman to Black Veteran, now available on Amazon. Make sure you connect with our brother Jay Bavolar. He's on Instagram. He's also on Facebook, and you can also have you revamped your YouTube channel yet? So
I haven't quite yet. I'll be revamping it soon.
okay, cool.
I do have a separate channel. But like I said, I posted sports clips from ESPN First Take,
Mm-hmm.
and this was about either dating back to about 8 or 9 years ago. This is like
Oh
2011,
wow.
12. So I'll probably and I could think this is a separate one from the one that I subscribe to you on. So I'll
Okay.
probably revamp this one a bit.
No problem. And thank you so much for getting us to this portion. So
Right.
in your book, Black Serviceman to Black Veteran, you've discussed your upbringing in on the East
Yep.
Coast, going into the military, your time in the military, also different education routes to go, and you
Yep.
stressed over getting a profitable, marketable, beneficial degree versus just how they tell us as new service members, just go to school. It looks good on your eval.
Right.
Go to school
But
for
but
this. Mm-hmm.
not even that. Just think about this for a second, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you grew up, but even me growing up, right? I was told just go to school, get good grades, go to college, get good grades, and get a good job. And, that's what I was told. And I was raised by my grandparents, and for what it's worth, you know, my grandfather was like my mentor, and he meant well in saying that, but I don't think he understand the nuances here of what it takes. Just for example, okay, a black person with a degree is less likely to get a job over a white person with a felony. So, say the cards are stacked against you. The game is rigged out here. This was
I'm
done
so
by,
happy
I
you brought
believe,
that up.
This is done. I believe this is Princeton University that did a study here.
I believe I have that in a book that was put out by the Nation of Islam called "How White Folks Got
Okay.
So Rich." It was talked about
Right.
the black veterans who served during Vietnam and things like that, how they weren't able to come out and have the GI Bill, the
Right.
VA loan,
But
stuff
not
like
even,
that. So
and not even that. The problem too was a lot of them were on drugs because the morale was so down during the Vietnam War, and people don't highlight it. Matter of fact, the movie Dead Presidents, that's where art
I
imitates
just got
life
finished
there.
watching that. I just
Yep.
got. I was
One of my
that's playing
that's
right now.
one of my favorite movies. Like Chris Tucker was Chris Tucker was kind of like my favorite character on it for some reason. But
Skippy.
that's just the microcosm of what Black society was after the Vietnam War. But people don't realize that. That's that's one of my favorite movies for over 20 years there. I grew up watching that. I would have when I was working in the barbershop, I would have that movie playing. I had all the classic black movies playing in the barbershop covered up, man.
That's what's up.
But
And speaking of that, how did you keep your morale up while you were active duty? How did you avoid, the usual, escape, the things that people get into because they're bored? Like, how did you make it out of the military without any children? You ain't paying nobody child support. I think we can talk about that.
People, that's funny. It's funny. I get asked that all the time. For me, like, I never wanted to have a kid out of wedlock. I guess my grandparents was my more accomplished. Like, my grandfather was married to my grandfather about almost 50 years before he passed. But for me, I never wanted to have a kid out of wedlock. It even now, my biggest thing is, if I have a child, my thing is I want to rebuild the black family. So I really don't want to have a kid out of wedlock. That's kind of my biggest pet peeve there. Now, listen, can it happen to me? Absolutely. Shit happens. Life happens here. So I'm not saying I'm holier than thou here. I don't want people to think of me like that.
But you can be confident, and you are something worth celebrating. So yeah, you make me want to sit up here and get this microphone. Black brother, okay.
Right. Listen, I'll be the first to say I ain't no saint here. But
this ain't a Christian channel. Well, this ain't a Christian channel.
Exactly. Exactly. Hey, listen, and I ain't about that life neither. But that's always been my biggest thing. So listen, if I'm gonna be out here on these streets having sex or whatever case may be, I'm gonna use protection. I'm gonna be conscious because first thing it's always in the back of my head, like, nah, I'm not trying to get this chick pregnant. Nah, I don't want a kid out of wedlock. I don't want to be on no children. That stuff has always on the back of my head there. That's just, I don't know. That's just how I think. That's just how I'm wired. And honestly, I already know. I know I'm wired differently than most here.
Shout out to brother Kareem. I was texting him earlier and I said, hey, I need to put y'all two in contact because he also served. I think Kareem served over 10 years active duty in the Navy, and he's not anybody's baby daddy or nothing. He ain't paying nobody child support, which is great. Like I said, brothers like y'all do exist. So I'm happy that you dropped the information because you are a source where young brothers who are either considering the military or in the military can look up to and not emulate and pick up bad behaviors, destructive behaviors, stuff like that. So thank you for being that example and that role model.
Definitely, I appreciate. It's funny because I put that in the introduction. There's something I could be wrong, and what it's funny when I wrote the book. I was just freelance writing at work one night because I worked the overnight shift. So I was just freelance writing at work. And then next thing I know, I was like, okay, I can make a whole book out of it. So then I just started the structure, how I wanted the chapters and everything. I thought the names for the book before, what's gonna work, what would stick. And I was like, okay, because at the end of the day, I want to build something that's gonna outlive me. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm dead and gone, let's just say 100 years later, people can pick up that book and be like, okay, wow, this meant something. This guy, this guy Jay Bavolar here, this guy was ahead of his time. If you think about it, honestly, this book is like the version of the Green Book by Victor H. Green.
Yes, I have that book.
But the military version, that's what I want this book to be.
I have that book somewhere back here. So yes, I cannot wait to add your book to the collection. So and that's just perfect because you're not selling the military. You're not here to recruit more or paint a perfect picture or sugarcoat. This is your actual experience.
I did that all.
And something that I just found out. I'll go ahead.
This is for folks that's in the military. This is something that they can use as their blueprint, right? Even folks that maybe want to go in the military, they see what they're up against here. The person that wrote a review on Amazon, he was somebody that was potentially aspiring to be in the military, and he was like, I'm glad I got a perspective of somebody that was in. And so that's what it's supposed to be. Okay, at least if you want to go in the military, you know what you're up against there. You know what to expect.
Absolutely.
Because because the thing is, everybody's situation is different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's situation, from, like I said, like we spoke about this offline, your reason for going to the military might not be the same as mine, right?
Absolutely.
And vice versa. Everybody has their own unique story of why they went into the military. Like, think about, Antwone Fisher. He was somebody that was homeless in Cleveland and went into the military. So this book would be perfect for somebody like that, how to navigate through their military career, and put them in a position, put them in a better financial situation when they get out. Because a lot of time, if we're gonna be honest, and I picked this stat up. This is from the National Coalition for Homeless Vets. It says 11% of the homeless population are veterans, right? But 45% of the homeless veterans are African American. Like, that's a scary number right there.
That really is scary. It really is, especially when
that's almost half.
Here's the issue I had when I was coming out. Like, I did not know what I was entitled to or what I was entitled to as a veteran. I'm still learning about the different things that are being offered on the veteran affairs on the federal side. But I just found out that here in Georgia we have this thing called the Vector Center, where it's the state level VA, and there's a lot of resources there. Being a new business, I wasn't aware of the grants and loans that are available for veterans. So that's a great place to start. So thank you for that. And just know, everybody in the comments, after I did my video on my active duty time, I received emails and people that reached out like, hey, I'm considering the military, or my son is considering. So I'm happy that I will link this video to that one, so that when they see it, they have a Black man to reach out to get that truth. I mean, there's certain things that you went through on the ship that I did not go through, and it's a totally different perspective. So can you talk to us? One thing that I found out before we cut the camera on to live was that discipline in the military. So did you talk about any of that in your book as well? And so can you shed a light on what discipline looks like in the military?
Yeah, matter of fact, I took about in the second chapter of the book, right? When you go to boot camp, because the whole point of boot camp is to take you from a civilian mindset to a military mindset. That's all boot camp is. So I did speak about that briefly, but also what, it gives you a level of self-discipline, because in the military your life is so structured, right? You have to, wherever you work at, you have to be there at a certain time. And you know what they say, right? If you're on time, you're late. So you got to be there 15 minutes prior. So it teaches you to be there, to be placed at a certain time, how to do things, how to look, how to dress and everything. Because, the uniforms had to always look on point, as especially me as SAs, they say, okay, your uniforms had to look a certain way, right? So when I did the coveralls, I made sure I had my coveralls in creases, and and I do talk about this book that was my laundry business right there. I had a whole like laundry empire on the ship. People come to me to press their uniform, do their laundry and stuff. So I actually did talk about that on the book.
One of the portions of the book, I believe, when you told me about it, we talked when I was driving across country. I remember I was
Yes.
leaving Tennessee, headed towards Mississippi, and you were telling
Yes.
me about your financial side of the book and the financial
Gotcha. Yep.
education you receive and the smarts that you have, and that's so important because when I look
Abs-
back at the military and all the money I wasted and stuff like that, I'm like, I could just cry like, ugh, I wish I knew then what I know
exactly.
now. So can you talk,
Same here.
let's say the person right here on the screen next to you is a person that has said, I solemnly swear, and fixing to go to boot camp. Can you talk to this person as if they're just now about to start day one and prepare them for the next 4 years
Right. You
of
know
their
what?
enlistment?
Right, and I'm glad you mentioned. I'm glad you asked that. So in chapter 3, that's why I really start dropping gems there. You know, because chapter 3, I talked about my A school experience and what you should do. So I talked about different apps that you can use to invest. The Acorns, the Stash, the Robinhood. And I explained how they all work. I now I'll say this. I will do a second edition. And I will go more in depth about it eventually in the next 3 years or so. I'm definitely gonna drop a second edition on this book. So this is actually an introductory level to investing in stocks and everything. So, and I'll talk about the importance of investing. You know, like for example, I'll give you an example. For example, so I said, listen, if you're gonna go on Snapchat and post Snapchat filters, why not invest in Snapchat? Because Snapchat is a publicly traded company, and I did talk about that. And you know what the irony is there? So I wrote this book back when I started writing, I was writing it back in the summer of 2019. When I wrote it at work, right? So Snapchat then was about, I believe, about $18, $19 per share. Right now, it's about $43 per share. So just think of the profit you would have made if you would have invested in Snapchat then. And I was investing in Snapchat, basically, I hit a home run on that. So, the moral to the story here is if you invest in stocks, saying there's money to be made in that.
And that's a big thing because coming into the military, a lot of us never had money like that. Although when I came in 2003 as an E9, I wasn't even E1. I was an E9, man, because I ain't had no money and no rank. But those of us who came from a place of lack, we wanted to, buy things that we never had. But then we have our family who think that we're rich now that we're active duty. So we go and become constantly consuming. I don't know why in the world I used to get my hair done when I wore a hat every dang on day. I don't get it.
Man,
But
listen, Tieesha. Listen, you hit it right on the head there. And I even want that myself. Listen, all my ups and downs, I documented in that book. You know what I'm saying? So like when I was coming to A school, like I went in, I was an E1 at first, but I was my recruiter make sure I went in as at least an E2. If I would known then, I probably tried to tell them, hey, listen, put me in as an E3.
put me in as an officer, okay?
Exactly. Exactly, for what it's worth. But and I was talking to so he gave me the certificate that saying I was E2, so I got the back pay for that when I was in boot camp. But I didn't know what to do with that money, and I should. Now I'm saying in the book I should have been investing it, and I'm buying clothes, shoes. This is 0405, so I'm buying throwback jerseys and all that good stuff, Jordans. And it's funny, and I said in the book, listen, if you're going to be buying Jordans, invest in Nike.
Absolutely. When I first bought into it, it
right
was $50 a share, and now it's I believe last time I checked, it
right
doubled.
now it's about $131, $32 a share.
Yep.
Now when I first bought into it was about $80 something a share. So just and mind you, the stock that Nike stock is only going to go up, and it does pay dividends. Not a lot, but it pays something. So listen, at the end of the day, in the long run, that Nike stock is going to be more than those Nike shoes in the long run. So that's the moral to the story there.
And coming from that mindset of consumer to kind of like producer investor, when I look at certain things, I'm like for instance, going to like Pizza Hut. I knew someone that worked at Pizza Hut, and they said, the cost at that time, like in the early 2000s, it cost them $2 to make a pizza, but they sold it. Like Pizza Hut has some high A-word pizzas. So I'm like, okay, if this pizza is made for $2, but I'm paying, $15, $16, $17 for it, okay, this is profit. But yeah, that's when it clicked, and I'm like, okay, I do not want to be a consumer all my life. And so that's one thing that we have to instill in our impressionable young ones is to, every advertisement is not meant for you to go out and buy. No, let's look at the other side. Put your own name on it. Shout out to Master P, put your own name on it and put your own products. Can you tell us about that?
I'm glad you said that. You know what I'm saying? Because I just watched the Chronicles of Low Minute on BET. And it really showed, because Master P, he put his name on everything. He owned everything. You know what I'm saying? He owned his masters. And all that stuff, right? Remember Jason Black was talking about this, about how Mace doesn't own his master bad, because he was trying to buy it back from Diddy or whatever. He offered $2 million, but Diddy said no. I got somebody who's going to buy it for $5 billion. Which is, I mean, listen, that's fair game. There, if somebody's going to offer more for it, hey, it is what it is. I can't feel that bad, but yes, but think with Master P, ownership is key, and that's one thing I could take from No Limit Chronicles, that he promoted ownership, right? He marketed No Limit on everything he put out. Now, what do you think? Master P is a great rapper or not? Or even a good rapper? I mean, that's up for debate there, But but for what's worth, I respect what he did. Nothing but respect for him.
Absolutely,
so
and everything that he wanted to do.
Right, right, and that's what I talk about in my book. Is one of the main points is going from a consumer mindset to an investor mindset. If you want to say producer, that if you want to think of along lines of producer, that's fine. But my thing, the main thing is, like I said, you go from a consumer to an investor mindset, and that's what I want people to be. People that's in the military or even out the military, right? So I'll give you another example, right? Things you can, for any pre-existing condition you didn't have before you prior to going to the military. Let's say you got it when you get out, you can claim as a disability, and that's the thing. That's something that's a hidden gem that a lot of people don't know about, right? So, for example, right now I got 50% disability. I had the no shave shit. That's for like a better description. That's basically a shaving waiver because for razor bumps. Once I shaved in boot camp, my face broke out. I got a bunch of razor bumps. My face is red and everything. So I had a no shave shit, and somebody told me, yo, you can actually claim that when you get out. So I was like, okay, no problem. I'll claim that out. So I did. So I got 30% for it. And then, I had an abscess on the left side of my cheek. So they had to cut that open and drain it. So I claimed it as a painful abscess. I got 10% for that. And then while I was in, I hurt both my feet. Like one was I had a blood clot on my left toe from playing ball on the Hanger Bay. That was one thing I did.
Non-skid, heck yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I do when I was in there. I used to, I play ball. That when I got out the military, I want, it's like, I'm gonna play college ball and everything. even before I went to the military, I was like, if I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna go out there and play ball. So that's what I did in the Navy. So I hurt my foot. I had a blood cut. They had to cut the nail open and drain it. Yep, it wasn't fun. That was painful.
I bet. Yes.
And then a year later, I hurt my right foot. I landed on awkwardly. So I was able to claim chronic bilateral foot pain because it still affects me to this day. So I got 10% from that. So altogether, I was able to get 50% from it. Because they gave me 10% for each foot. the VA math gets a little fuzzy, so it should be 60%. VA math's a little fuzzy there. I can't explain. I can't explain their logic there. I guess you gotta love their logic or lack thereof there. But so I was able to get 50% for that. So my point to you is like anything you didn't have prior to coming in, you can claim as a disability. Now, this is money that you can potentially get for the rest of your life here. So I mean, obviously, I'm not saying, hey, listen, claim disability and just chill at the house and play PlayStation here. That's not what I'm saying. But let's just say, okay, you could get 80%, which I believe is about 1,600 more or less. So let's say you work in a job that you make 60,000 plus that 80%. That makes all the difference in the world there. That puts you in a better financial position.
That's one thing I want to talk about. I'm so glad that we got on the topic of disability, because I'm not sure if this was the business or if this was TBA, but there was a brother that called in and said, he's on disability. He was in the military. He just don't know what to do with his life. So pretty much it like he was just, cooped up at somebody's house, collecting the check whenever it comes in. I think VA checks come in at the end of the month, and just being a bump on the log. Yeah. Yep. So can you talk to us about your experience getting out of the military, staying productive, having goals, setting goals, being productive, being a producer, and getting multiple streams of income, also with self-educating yourself as well. So can you talk to brothers who think like, okay, I can just get out and exist? That's not what the world needs. It's just you exist and you have to be productive. So can you talk about that?
Exactly. Good question right there. Please listen. Let's just say, for the sake of the conversation, you get 100% disability. That's just with no kids or anything, right? So that's about, I think it's 3,104. So that's about more or less $45,000 a year, right? So that still puts you under the poverty line. So why would you want to get that and not work? As long as you're not total disability and unemployability, you can still go out and work. So why not get that and work a regular job, or if you have a business, whatever the case may be, still do that on top of your 100% disability. There's definitely a bunch of benefits that you can get from being 100% disabled. But let's just, like I said, if you get 60,000, let's just say you make 50, 60, 70,000 a year, that's, 80. Think of it like this. It's 80, 90, 100,000 a year with your disability. That's the way I look at it as. So now, saying you in the top, 10 or 5% or whatever it is, because it's not a whole bunch of people just making 100,000 here. Now, mind you, the disability money you get is tax free. So, just be mindful of that. And obviously the money that you make from your job, obviously you get taxed, depending on what state you're in. They might do a state income tax. I know Texas and Florida, there's no state income tax in those states.
Talk to us about your life after the military. What are you doing now, and how did you maintain your focus, your mental clarity? Because I know it's kind of like a debrief. Like me, I got out. Yes. I just got out, gave him my ID card, and then I was unemployed for 28 days, and I went to the police department and had to find myself in this world. And I know we had talked about the movie Dead Presidents, which is a good movie to watch today. So can you talk to us about reintegrating? Like we left our parents' home, went to the military, and then we're just in the world. Can you talk to us about how life has been for you since?
And that's a great question right there. And I'll tell you, probably one of the biggest things I made getting out was going back to my hometown. That's probably. I think maybe I should have stayed where I was at, in North. I was living in Virginia Beach at the time. Maybe I should have stayed there. So, when I went out, I was like, okay, listen, I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna get the housing allowance for going to school, which was what was the New York City
the post 9/11. Yeah.
Yes. So I got it was for Long Island, which was, I believe at the time it was about almost 2,500. It's like 2,481, I believe, right at the time. So I was like, I'm gonna get that plus unemployment, and then I'll claim disability. So that was my plan at the time to do. So I was like, okay, with all that, I'll make a little over $3,000 a month, more or less. I'll live at home. I live at home with my folks, which I think that was a bit of a mistake. Only reason being is like, think about it like this. When you left Cincinnati, right? You left for all the right reasons, right? You wanted to get out of Cincinnati. You wanted a better life for yourself. You wanted to grow on your own, strike your own way, things of that sort. You want to develop. But when you go back to your hometown, you're going back for all the wrong reasons. You're going back for, hey, listen, I miss Granny. I want to go back to, I want to be closer to my high school. I want to go to that, that same crappy restaurant that was never any good. So these emotional reasons is what you go back for. You want to relive nostalgia is basically, for lack of a better description here. So, I went back trying to relive nostalgia, and thing is, nostalgia can be good, but it could be dangerous at times, right? Reliving nostalgia, it's cool. It was cool at first for the first couple of weeks, and then it got old real quick. Even it's like, okay, I'm living back in the New York City area. The allure of living in the big city gets old real quick, and I think that's kind of where I went wrong. Because thing is, when you're living back home, it's very easy to get carried away. It's very easy to get complacent. You're like, damn, I'll make all this money. So it's real easy to get complacent. And I put that in there in the book. So I told folks, hey, listen, don't go back home. Either stay where you're stationed at. If not, if let's just say you want to move to another city. Let's just say, okay, I'm in the Navy. I live in North Virginia. I'm not feeling Norfolk. All right. So say you want to move to, let's just say, Houston, Texas. Well, okay, go to Houston, Texas. Go there for a weekend or so. Take leave and go there for a weekend or a few days and see what it's like. See if you like the city or not. Also find out what the cost of living in the city is like. Find out what's going to be the cost there. Find out what the average rent that there is. Find out what it would be like to pay car insurance there. Things of that sort. So go to that city and find those things out. Don't just go there blindly. I put that in the book. I document that pretty well, and things you can do to navigate that. I spoke about that in, I believe that was chapter. I believe it was chapter 9. I think no, it was chapter 10. I believe chapter 10. I believe I spoke about that in.
That's what's up. And the book that he's referring to is Black Serviceman to Black Veteran, which is now available on Amazon by yours truly, Brother Jason Bavolar, Navy veteran, also author. And I'm celebrating this. Like it's so amazing to see us get our stories out there, our memoirs
Absolutely.
out there, and just to hear these different perspectives, like being brave enough and open enough and trusting to put your story out there and to be open to criticism, open to questions, but it could also open the doors to a lot of other things, like you said, residual income, another stream of income. You have something that makes money for you in your sleep, because
yes,
I know being in Hampton Roads, the 757, I was just there last week. Coming in the military, we had all types of money predators coming after us, targeting us. The buy here, pay here cars, the payday loans. This is not an advertisement for them, but USA discounts with that high price cheap furniture.
I spoke about that. I put that in the book. I put all that in the book too.
Oh gosh. That is crazy. Yes, these are just big money wasters. People.
I spoke about, and I spoke about USC discounts. Don't go and buy furniture for them. Don't go and buy rims for them.
Right. You need to maintain your credit score because, like you were saying, moving from where you're at to where you're going, I did not want to go back to Ohio because a lot of the broke mentality was there, where people still want to go and stunt at the club and show off to impress the next person. I did not want to be around that.
That was me at one point. I've been there and done that, and it's like at the end of the day, you feel good about doing it that night, but after a while, it's like, okay, what do you have to show for that? And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, because I don't want to see folks just go to the club just done. You know, I don't want to see people be homeless, or hell, even worse, commit suicide. You know, like I've seen a couple of brothers from the National commit suicide. The crazy part is these are people that I would never expect. Like, for example, my man Andre Hardy, which I put a dedication to him in the book. You know, just somebody, he was my phone plug. Like, you know, I did his laundry, and this is somebody I considered a friend. Like, he was somebody, you know, listen, anytime you need to come down to the shop, use the phone, you can use it anytime, no questions asked. You know, same thing. Anytime you need your clothes pressed, laundry done, you know, saying, I got you. And it was like,
and let me tell them how important the phones were. The phones were important because we didn't have cell phones back then when we did. Yeah,
exactly.
Phones was a luxury. So was computers.
You out in the middle of nowhere, you see nothing but water. Those phones was important. You can call, you know what I'm saying, you can call home, you call your folks and stuff. So, you know, I woke up one morning and somebody tagged me in a post and said, you know, this man, it passed. I'm like, wow, you know, that hit home. And it was then the reason, you know, the situation that he passed, that he committed suicide. I'm like, man, wow, I would never expect him to commit suicide. You know, another brother that, you know, good brother, you know, I cut his hair a few times, good dude. And I'm like, you know, somebody reached out to me and said, yo, did you hear about him? I was like, nah, what happened? He's like, oh, he took his own life. I'm like, wow. You know, I just didn't expect that. And that's another thing, you know, mental health in the military is very important. You know,
please elaborate on that. Please.
Yes.
During and after, please elaborate on mental health, PTSD, any of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. First of all, mental health is nothing to play with whatsoever. So, you know, going into the service, or even in the service, you see different things. You know, even just regular things that you go through. You know, while you're in, you know, saying, let's just call, matter of fact, let's just call it what it is. As a black person going into the service, you know, there's definitely racism while you're in there, you know, and I definitely documented this. You know, I documented the article from the Atlanta Black Star of how many black service members go to mass, you know, from, you know, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard. So, you know, and there's definitely, you know, they definitely show favorites while you're in the service. So, you know, but, you know, they show, let's just call it what it is, they show the white people favorites over you. Or hell, let's just say the woman there, they got big titties and a fat ass, showing her favorites over you. So you can't get that request that you wanted. I remember you said you were trying to you requested your birthday off on your video from a year ago. You know, yep. you had childcare. You legit had other stuff going on outside of the ship, and you know they might be like, man, nah, we're not gonna.
I should not have had to go file a EO complaint just to get a special liberty for my birthday. I should not have had to go through that.
Let's take that a step further, right? Sometimes the EO is not even in your best interest.
No, because the EO is manned by a chief, and the chiefs have their own loyalty to it. You better hold on, preach, brother.
So
you need to let them know.
You go in there. It's a losing cause, but you even going in there. So and you know it's crazy. You know, but when I went in, I was 19 years old. When I actually went in, you know, in my early 20s. By the time I got, I was 24. So I kind of knew this stuff going in. So I was like, go to EO for what?
Right.
You know, because a lot of times they don't work in your favor, and a lot of times they're not even worth a damn.
And it puts a target on your back too, because I got a target on mine.
Title, right. It's just the title because, you know, they just want a better eval or whatever.
Collateral duty. It's just a collateral duty.
Exactly. Come on, let's call it what it is here.
Absolutely, yes. I'm so happy that you brought that up, because I had put a post on Instagram today. You know, I was kind of torn because I dedicated myself to observing November 11th as the birthdays of my great grandmother and my great grandmother, but also this is the day of the execution of Nat Turner. But then I also think about the other veterans who
I didn't even realize that.
Yes, Nat Turner was executed on November 11th, and I
Wow.
think about the other Black veterans because our stories as Black veterans are not the same as our non-Black counterparts.
Not at all.
So once you start getting on the right side of history and really see behind a lot of stuff, it's really difficult, and now I understand why it's hard to tell
It's
another
funny.
black
I,
veteran happy Veterans Day or get your free dinner at Applebee's. No, I don't want that. That's not what it's about.
it's not at all. I mean, listen, if you want to take advantage of it, by all means. I'm not gonna knock anybody if they want to. Hey, listen, I did it myself, so who am I to tell somebody not to? But at the same time, you know, I'll never forget this. My first year on that, so I was 19 years old at the time, and they put, what kind of complaints you got. So I put, there's definitely racism on the ship and all that stuff, and I put that on there. So this is anonymous, so I put it on there, and then the department LCPO came to me. He's like, you want to say to me? I was like, listen, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, I don't have anything to say.
It's supposed to be anonymous.
Exactly. But he was able to pinpoint to me for some reason. I don't know if he saw my handwriting, knew what it was, knew who it was. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But and like I said, I'm 19 years old. Like, listen, I don't have the same level of consciousness now that I had then. That's the crazy part about it.
And that's why they want to recruit you while you're young, because once you're seasoned and you got your right mind and you're like, hold on, I have a personality and confidence and I know what's illegal and not, and this ain't gonna fly.
Right.
Because I remember we had an older woman in my basic training academy or group. She was the oldest ever. Like, she was older than the RDCs. They didn't put her through the stupid stuff. They put us 17, 18, and 19-year-olds through. And yes, you can join us at 17. Like, I was barely 18 when I got in.
Wait a second. Was she white or black?
She was Asian.
Interesting.
Yeah, she did not have to do as many push-ups. Like she was there. They did not get up in her face and cuss her out. Because I remember being me and my road dog. They called us Twinkle D and Tweedledum, and all the time they called us that called us dinglings and stuff. And I'm like, why are you talking to us like this? Because we were young and they knew they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, can you talk to us about your upcoming projects? Shout out to everybody who is going to connect with you, follow you, purchase your book. Make sure when you purchase it, please. Put it over on Instagram, tag our brother in it. Make sure when you purchase, go to Amazon and leave a review. After
please.
you read it. Put this in the hand. Like, if you have a teenager who's graduating, I know times have been tough, where the homeschooling and things like that. And if you have a teenager who wants to go into the military, please put a copy of Brother Jason's book in their hand. Like, look, check this out first. Make a conscious decision, a well-educated, thought-out decision, and go from there. And he's available. Like, hit him up in the inbox. I won't say slide in your DMs, but he is a single man, so slide. And I'm like,
I mean, listen.
But ask your questions and get an educated thought.
Listen, anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm definitely open to it. You wouldn't be the first. People have reached. Even before I write this book, people have reached out to me before about what's the best thing they should do as far as if their kid want to join the military or relative, whatever the case may be. So, if you want to do that, that's fine. I have absolutely no problem with that. I'm pretty accessible. I'm not hard to reach. I get back fairly quickly. If not, maybe I had something going on. But I will definitely make it my business to get back to you.
Beautiful. And shout out to my moderators. Make sure you email me, Solo Dolo. I see that you are here tonight. And Brother Black Voltron, also Kareem. Let me email me after this.
Shout out to those brothers.
Yes,
definitely shout out to them. I definitely always see them in your chat.
Yes.
I see them, Tariq and Tariq Shad, Black Authority. So shout out to those brothers there, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
here's a gift coming from me to my moderators. Email me, connect with me, and I will send you a copy of Brother Jason's book. Okay, because this is me saying thank you to you, but also putting this valuable piece of information, this valuable asset in your hand. Maybe it's for you or someone in your family, and you can pass his word on. And let's do better. Like we are the faces of Black veterans now. Like I said, we're watching Dead
absolutely,
Presidents, where we see the old school veterans who served in Nam. My grandfather, he was in the Korean conflict. But we are the faces now, and thank you for supporting us and listening to us as we use
absolutely,
this as a mechanism to connect, to also heal, but to also teach, and to also debrief from some stuff that we've been through, and also share and educate. So thank you. What can we
absolutely.
expect from you upcoming, brother? Like
Um,
what's to come in
a
the
couple
future
things.
from you?
Yeah, yeah, right, yes, yes, that as well. I was actually thinking about writing a book on toxic relationships. I was actually going to do. I was thinking about doing a book on that. Reason being, because I watch a lot of these crime shows, right? For example, Fatal Attractions on TV1. I watch that. I watch that faithfully every week. I have it on DVD and everything. ATL Homicide, First 48, and all that stuff, right? So, and I do a lot of commentary. I do my own commentary. I'm like, man, I would say about a good 90% of these situations can be avoided. So I'm like, man, I could write a whole book on this stuff and avoid this stuff. So people can avoid. So people can stay alive and save their lives. You know what I'm saying? Because no reason. There's no reason people be dying over a relationship. So that was. So I was like, man, you know what? I'm thinking about doing a book now. I haven't actually written anything. I haven't actually started up, but I definitely want to do that in the near future. Also, after this, about maybe another 3 years from now, I'll probably do a second edition of this book here. Well, I'll have, I'll go more in depth on some of the things. I think of it like this. Like this book here is, you can think of it as like finance and life 101, right? So the second edition will be life and finance 102. So I'm definitely going to do that in the future, and that's what I've gone for myself. Maybe I'll come up with other ideas in the meantime.
That's what's up. I'm sorry, I'm just going through everything. I have
No worries. Yeah,
everybody
I see some of
commenting.
the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
that's what's up. Actually, when you say the toxic relationships, I may have to have you back because I'm working on a video right now about trauma bonding. That's something that's been on my
Right.
mind for the,
I
the
remember
last year.
you said you had a separate YouTube channel on abusive relationships, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Say that one more time.
You had a separate YouTube channel on abusive
Yes,
relationships or something of that sort,
absolutely.
correct?
Yeah, and so
Gotcha.
with that channel, I made a lot of the videos private, and I send them to people who reach out to me because I noticed that a lot of people can't comment publicly because either their
Right.
abusive spouse or partner takes their phones and tracks their history. So I'm like, okay, let's do
Right.
things where I'll send it to you privately.
I,
Do not comment. Let's go that way.
right. And like I said, like for me, like abuser or man putting his hands on women is never okay. The only
Mm-hmm.
the only way I say that's okay if your life isn't like, for example, she has a knife or a gun to you, then by all means you do what you got to do in that situation.
Absolutely.
But just to be putting your hands on a woman because she was upset with you, whatever the case may be, that is never. I don't condone that behavior whatsoever.
And we can do an entire video on that because
We can.
with you coming out of the military, you can if you're willing to talk about some of the relationships, some things that you observe. And I think this would be actually a great video between you and Brother Kareem because y'all observe
No
toxic
doubt.
relationships, toxic stuff like that. but then you're able to make it out, without, a lot of the stuff that comes along with it, children, 2, 3, 4 divorces, things like that. And you are the brothers
Right.
who are not shown out there. Like, we have to salute you. But also, people think that in basic training that they teach us everything we need to know about money. Negative.
Not
I'm
at
not sure
all.
if it was the same when you were active duty, when you were in Great Lakes or Great Mistakes. It was these chicks from Navy Federal and Armed Forces Bank. They had on these tight suits with the boobs pushed up and these short skirts. I'm going to get these suits, and they would talk like really high pitched voice and like really really fast and give us your money.
And be
Sign
really
up. Oh my
seductive.
gosh. Did they do that to y'all? Cause I'm like, I ain't signing up with none of y'all. I'm a hometown bank.
I don't recall that because I left for A school the same day I graduated, so I
Okay. Well,
really
they
would not
did
know.
that to us. I think like because in boot camp. Well, I'm not sure if it's the same, but when I came in 2003, when we started, they gave us this food stamp book, and we could purchase stuff at the exchange. And then like
chip
when they were
book.
ready
Yeah, yes.
yeah, the chip book.
Yes,
So then
I know exactly what you're talking about.
yes, it was blue for us. I called it a food
I think
stamp
it was
book.
I think it was blue. Yeah, then you might as well call it the blue stamp.
Because you was personal food stamps, but they took it
Yeah.
out of your first, like, because they gave you a
Paycheck.
lump of 3 paychecks all at once. You like,
Yeah.
whoa, I got a couple $1,000s, but it was a whole bunch of paychecks and back pay. But we did not learn how to manage money, how to avoid the predatory family members who got a sob story. We didn't learn about investing. Yeah, they taught us about TSP. I already didn't know what the TSP was, and to be totally honest, I did not invest in TSP the entire time I was
didn't
active
either.
duty. I did not know what it was. I'm like, okay, I'm getting like $400 a paycheck, and you want even more of that? Like, I can't do it. I can't. So once I went to the
Exactly.
city, I could make an appointment with human resources, and they told me about the different ways to become vested with the city, how to pay into the city retirement. But I didn't know anything about that. So it comes with
Right.
money, relationships,
It
total
does.
like overall well-being. That's where a lot of us, we were handicapped. We had our growth stunted while we were active duty, and that bled out into our post-military life. So I think
Right.
if anything,
As
but you definitely have something there.
right, and like they say, hindsight is always 2020. And like I
Hmm.
said, I want folks to read my book and say, you know, I don't, I spoke about some of the mistakes that I've made while I was
Hmm.
in,
Right.
you know, much to my chagrin there, but I spoke about them, and I was like, that doesn't need to be you, because at the end of the day, I want to see people get in a better financial position. Listen,
Hmm.
for what it's worth, listen, I want to see my people win. That's what it's all about there. You know,
Absolutely. I just want to
something
say thank you
it's
again
something
for
bigger than
everything you
me.
shared tonight. Yes, and
No
you
problem at
are
all.
continuing your service. You're continuing to serve. So thank you so much for this. I really appreciate you. So
Absolutely.
can you leave us with some final words? Talk to the audience. Talk to your potential book readers, your potential connections. Just give them what you need to close out this video with. And I'm gonna make you the entire screen while I type in the chat. Okay.
Gotcha. All right, sounds good. Yeah. Please, get the book, support it, especially for all my folks that was in the military. This is gonna be a great read because listen, I give it an intelligent perspective on my experiences while I was in, and how to and for those that's in, it's about how you can navigate while you're in and put you in better position when you get out, right? it's it's all about saying why you can win while you're in, but then you can win even bigger when you get out. Put yourself in the right positions, because at the end of the day, listen, that's what life's about. Life's about putting yourself in a position. You play chess, you're putting yourself in the best position to win, and that's what this book is. That's what this book is all about here. Any of you that want to follow me on my social media, you can reach me at Coach J Bav. You want to email me? That's jbavalar@yahoo.com. That's first initial on my first name, Bavalar@yahoo.com. For anybody that wants to reach out to me, maybe you have a relative that wants to join the military or that's in the military, you can definitely reach out to me there. And so co-host the podcast. if you want, you can follow. It's called Hold Husband Podcast, and that's more about the host of the show, his story, how he was a former whole womanizer or whatever, and he became a husband, and he's been married for I believe over 15 years. So great show. We have good conversations on there. We had some great guests on there, so definitely want to listen to that. And you know, last but not least here, thank Tieesha for allowing me to be on her platform. Number one, I've asked other people to do and I've asked other people that have platforms, that's in the military to if they can do a promo. I've offered to pay, and I can't even get an answer back. So for what it's worth,
Oh, wow.
thank you for having me on your platform.
All right, going back to the two screens. I want to say thank you so much, and I just want to give a shout out to our B1 FBA, the new Black media, because it was because of Brother Tariq that connected us. If I didn't talk about Hidden Colors 5, wow, this is a big deal. And now I know how it feels to connect with people that you served with, and you just don't know what connections and networks you have available to you post service. Like you were definitely an asset, during your active duty time, but definitely now post service. I really appreciate you.
I definitely appreciate that. I'm happy to be on this platform, and definitely humbled by this experience. Yeah.
And you're always welcome back. You definitely have a shout out to. I saw one comment that said they were purchasing your book, Angela, our sister Angela. Shout out to you. She's purchasing right after this live. Click the link in bio. Okay, click the link in bio and pick it up. You're definitely welcome back. If you have a topic, you have my phone number. Get at me. We'll chop it up and
please support. My goal is definitely to get in the top 100. And I think military biographies, I was within striking distance. I got into like the 500s.
Okay.
And then I was like right at 49,000 as far as top 100. So at one point I was in striking distance. So please
we gonna get you there.
This, we gonna get you there so we can get there.
We're gonna get you there, and I definitely have you back after I get my hard copy and read it. So you're coming back, even if we have to do like schedule something weekly. Because one thing I want to start doing is having a schedule. Like as a YouTuber, I'm really crappy when it comes to a schedule. I just when the spirit hits me, I go live. Okay, but I need a schedule. So
look, listen, you get on when you get on, I listen, and I say
thank you.
When I listen to you. Hidden Colors, and I'm like, listen, you got talent. Like you're good at what you do on. You're good at what you do on here. So this is a dope platform right here. For all of you that listen, I definitely took a lot of things and learned some things from this platform. So definitely keep doing what you do. I like the reviews that you do. Even the sleeping thing when you talked about the blanket and all that stuff. I took a page out of that. Even of how you travel when you traveling across country, right, over the summer. I drove from New Jersey to Texas myself.
Oh wow.
So yeah. So I took some of those things as far as for example. I didn't go buy food at a fast food. I had my own. I had my own waters in the bag. I had my own stuff to snack on. So I got that from your videos.
Thank you.
So I took a page as you. So you got a dope platform. What I'm saying, and I know this is going to be bigger as the days and the years go on. I know it.
Thank you so much. And one question I want to ask you about before we go, I know you did your closing, but can you talk about quirks about you? Like we all have these unique quirks about us post-military service. Like mine is all of my blinds are open because I have to be able to see that I'm not floating, and I can't use the treadmill at the gym because you remember being in the gym and the ship of rock and you're on the treadmill going this way and that way. So what are some unique quirks about you?
That's funny you say that. I'm the opposite because when I sleep, I like it to be completely dark when I'm sleeping because otherwise I'm a light sleeper, so I can't sleep. Another thing about me, I guess I'm more of a perfectionist. When I wrote this book, I was like, if there was stuff I didn't like, I had to go back and correct it. even coming on this channel, when I prepped, I had to make sure everything, I guess that's just who I am. Like I said, that's the Virgo in me. So, when I do things, it's got to be because I'm like, damn, I'm being introduced to, her audience. I don't, these people aren't familiar. These people don't know me. They're not familiar with who I am. They don't know me from a hole in the wall. Let's just say, I go to the FBA conference and they come, they're gonna know who I am.
They love you.
And I definitely, I definitely appreciate that. Shout out to you once again for having me on this platform. But, my thing is, I'm a perfectionist. It's like, I gotta look a certain way on here. I gotta make, I had notes in front of me, make sure everything's right, and I'm not sitting here stumbling on my words. I don't sound like some bumbling idiot on here. They're like, man, fuck this dude on your platform for, my thing is, I gotta make sure it's not that. I make sure, oh wow, she got this dude on here, man. Tell her get this dude back on here.
And here's a little bit.
That's a big pet peeve for me.
Here's a little bit behind the scenes. He actually inspired me to go change my clothes. I had on a Black History T-shirt. I'm like, oh my gosh, suit and tie. Like, that's why my lipstick don't match my shirt. But you inspired me. Like, come on now, you need to step it up. So thank you for setting the tone and being a leader. I appreciate you.
I try now, and for what it's worth, I just do the best that I can. What I have, you know what I'm saying? Because for me, there's always room for improvement. That's why I look at, when I wake up every day, I look at what's going to make me better tomorrow. That's always my biggest thing there.
I'm always a phone call away. So as we continue to grow, I like to be that person where being in your life is constructive. You can look back, a year in the past and see the positive, constructive influence I had, that we are progressing together versus degressing or staying stagnant. So I just want to say thank you so much. I salute you for putting out your book. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being kind to me. You said, I remember you as this lanky, tall girl with braces walking around the floor.
That's all
but
good.
I salute you.
Hopefully at the was it the next Financial Black American Conference
Oklahoma
in
Tulsa,
Oklahoma.
Tulsa.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. Maybe I'll be vending and sell my books there.
Heck yeah.
I was thinking of it. I was actually gonna go to one when it was back in June. I actually put my money towards it, but coincidentally, it was actually on my the one that they had to tell was actually on my birthday. So I had prior engagements going. Yeah.
That's what's up. Well, I would definitely see you at the next one. Hopefully see you before then. But yeah, it's a great experience. I will be promoting your book, promoting your platforms. You're welcome back. Whatever ideas you have, we have it here. So I just want to say thank you to all my moderators, everybody who joined us tonight on YouTube, also Facebook.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us for another great video. Please share, comment, check out the description box, for some great information. And as always, I will see you on the next platform. I love you so much, my B1, my FBA family. If it was not for you, I would not be here. So I thank you, and I'm here for you, and I'm hopefully putting something constructive out there for us. And shout out to our brother Jay Bavolar. His book, Black Serviceman to Black Veteran, is now available on Amazon. You will be back after I read it, because you have the preview available. You will be back, and we'll chop it up. So I think that might kick off our book club. Us who are nerds, our books that'll kick it off. So thank you so much, and shout out to our Black veterans. I talk about Nat Turner. And I have put a post on Instagram today. If I can get over there to it really quick, I shared this where we have.
Didn't you visit? Right, you was in Virginia where he passed that, correct?
Yes, the Southampton County. I did the tour. Yep.
Right on 58.
Yep.
Yep. I know that area very well. Not one of my favorite places to drive to.
I just drove through there at night too.
Nope, man, the police out there, they'll pull you over for any little thing out there.
Here is a note. Yes, Emporia, Virginia. You drive exactly the limit. Until you get on 95, you'll look good. But in Emporia, Virginia, once you leave they know I'm not from around. I say Suffolk, but it's Suffolk. You know, once you get into Suffolk on the 58, you drive the exact speed limit. It's none but cotton fields
like
and.
Yep.
Be careful. I always tell folks, be
careful until you get up. Whether you get on, whether it's 95 or 85, you know, going, you know, traveling from Virginia, you know, if you're going to 64 out there, you know, to the North Virginia Beach area, yeah, be careful out there. They be on some other stuff out there.
Virginia State Troopers, yeah, because they gave me a lot of tickets. So yeah, I did a video on Virginia State Police.
Yep. They write you a ticket. Oh, Virginia State Police, they write you a ticket. Listen, you get pulled over by them, just be ready to, okay, just give me my ticket. How much
you appearing in court?
And just keep it pushing.
Press hard or appear, player. And that's another video we could talk about. So I just want to say thank you.
That's a whole other topic over there.
Because my driving record did not improve until I joined the police department. So I'll go ahead and put that out there. But I just thank everybody for being here tonight. This was a great conversation. And I just want to say I salute you for your service, your selfless service.
Same to you.
Yeah, so we're definitely a part of history, and we definitely have a voice, and we're definitely sought out for our experience, our information, and our wisdom. So keep growing, keep the positive content coming, keep on growing. We are celebrating your every milestone. So thank you to everybody in the comments. I thank you for being with us tonight. I will let you know when I plan to go live again, and you will see the next upload as well. So, stay safe. Salute to all of our veterans out there. Rest in power to our ancestor, Nat Turner, who was executed today. So, get on the right side of history, okay? If that's one thing that I can do over before going into the military, was getting on the right side of history. Okay, so definitely do that. Brother Jason, please do not click off as soon as I end this video. We have a few things to talk about, and everybody else, I will see you on the next video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. And thank you for joining us tonight. Have a great night, and we'll see you again.
Peace.